Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, how you doing? Greetings to all the viewers or listeners that may stumble across this video or who may be joining me live right now. Hello, Marilyn Taylor. Mylyn Taylor. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Hello. But today we're going to continue with excerpts from the book by Sherilyn Cato, Letters from Christopher, where we will visit and analyze and break down certain things that's being said in this book. Some things we knew about, some things we did not. So today in particular, we're going to discuss how and why Chris killed his children. So I'm going to try not to make this live show super long. I'm only going to try to occupy about 20 or 30 minutes of your time. So let's proceed. So Chris goes on to talk about in this book the reason why his kids had to die. All in all, the reasons are both selfish and stupid, but nevertheless, they are his reasons. Now, the reasons correlate along with the same reasons why Shanann had to die, which is simply he wanted a new life with Nicole. Now, isn't it funny that when this case first happened, the narrative that they pushed was Colorado man kills family for mistress. And some people believe wholeheartedly into that narrative. Some people were skeptical as far as if that was the sole reason on why he did this. Turns out it's absolutely true. He literally killed these kids because they were going to get in the way of him and Nicole. Now, Chris speaks on a time he recalled when he decided, okay, I'm actually going to kill these children. And he talks about a time when he had to take them to a birthday party. And after that birthday party, he said the kids was getting on his nerves more than they ever had before. At that time, their life became nothing to him. He said it was times where he felt like maybe the kids was able to sense that something bad was going to happen to him, because it was a time when he reached out to grab their hands and they didn't want to grab his hand. They wasn't very talkative, and this was only one particular day that he's speaking on. So he goes on to also discuss that he planned on killing his children about 2 weeks before he actually did this. And each day that went by, the fuel to the fire grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Once it was just a fantasy type of a thing where he would imagine, yeah, I might have a better life with Nicole without a family, without my children. And as each day went by, it became more and more of a reality. More and more he told himself, okay, this isn't something I'm just going to think about, but this is something I'm actually going to do. And what shocked me was when this story first came out, a lot of people were skeptical and trying to analyze if Chris killed the children first or if he killed Shanann first. But do you guys remember a few months ago when Dr. Phil aired a special on the Chris Watts murders when he had Shanann's family on there and Shanann's family attorney? Well, they are the ones who actually changed the narrative a little bit. They were the ones who told us that Bella came in and saw Chris killing Shanann. At that time, we all wondered, where was Cece at the time? We thought and speculated that maybe she was still in the bed sleeping and that maybe she didn't know or didn't see what was going on. But in this book, Chris goes on to give us more details. Well, we find out that Shanann came home, she got into the bed. That's when Chris goes to the kids' room. He smothers both of them. Now, he says at that moment they were dead. He goes on to kill Shanann, which took a good little minute for him to kill her completely. And he says the girls wake up. They come back to life. And they come into the room. He said when he looked at them, their faces and their body looked like they had been through a struggle. It looked like someone had tried to kill them. Now, pause right there and rewind a little bit to when Chris was being interviewed. Chris told Tammy and Graham, although this was a lie, but bits and pieces of it was truthful. He told Tammy and Graham that he saw Nicole. He walked into the room, he saw Shanann on top of Bella or Cece. He said they were blue. He could tell that they were dead. Well, that visual image that he spoke of was actually what he saw when he killed them the first time. Now, I must say, it's strange using the terms killed the first time or they came back to life. To me, that sounds very strange to say. But that's the way he described it. So what I would assume is the first time he was smothering them with their pillows, the same pillows that they had their heads on. What I would assume is he thought that they were dead, but really they had slipped and became unconscious. So when they wake back up and he see them, he said once he locked eyes on them, he became infuriated. He said his rage began to grow because he was wondering why in the world are they still alive. On top of that, they were semi-hysterical because of what happened and what they're seeing happening to their mom. So they're running around the house, probably talking amongst each other. They don't know what's going on, but at the same time, they know something is not right. Something good is not happening. Although they don't properly understand death and killing and smothering. They don't really understand that at the time. So Chris goes on to, wrap Shanann up, drag her down the stairs, lower her into his car. The girls walk up to him and he placed them in the car. He said it took about 45 minutes to an hour for him to get to the location, the oil site location. But in that time, he said he was furious the whole time. He saw both Flower Child. He saw both children. Both children woke up and came in to see what he was doing. Now, when the Dr. Phil special aired and they told us what Bella said, which was, what are you doing to mommy? They only told us what Bella said because that's all he told that Bella had said. But Cece was aware and visual of all of these things. But let's keep in mind, Cece was 2 years old. So, although she's seeing everything that's happening, she don't know what's happening. She doesn't know. Bella doesn't know either, but Bella knows that something's not right a little bit more than Cece does. So, he says they make it out to the oil site. And he goes on, he takes the blanket, and he proceeds to smother them again. And he said, out of fear that those kids will become alive again, is the reason why he put them in them oil tanks. So if they did somehow wake up, they'll still never live again. They'll never make it out of them oil tanks. See, when Chris begins to add little tidbits like that into the story, it becomes so unbelievable, but not unbelievable in the way that I think he's lying, but unbelievable in the way of I'm a parent just like much of you guys are. And to me, no matter how evil my mind can possibly get, after the first time I thought that I killed my children and God gave them life again, according to his words, there's no way in hell I can go back for seconds. There's no way I can repeat the same evil act I just did, and to be sure that they will not wake up again, carry them up ladders and stuff them into a small hole. Now, he did go on to say Cece fit into the hole fairly well. He said Bella, he had a little trouble with her. He had to literally force her into that hole. So when people were speculating that he shoved and pushed her through that hole, you were right. I come to find out a lot of little things that people speculated in the beginning when this case first hit, most people were right about what they thought. Now, there is one thing and one key factor that I'm going to touch on more on another video, but I'll elaborate a little bit right now, is Nicole Kessinger's involvement in these crimes. Now, even to this day, Chris still says Nicole Kessinger was not involved. But Miss Sherilyn Cato asked Chris a question, because Chris was talking to her about how he oh man, if you're listening to me, if you're able to hear me, if you're in the live chat, can you let me know if you can still hear me talking right now? Let me know if you can still hear me, whoever is in the live chat. Let me know if you can still hear me. What's up, Brody Richard? KJ Carrion? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, fine. All right. But yeah, okay. So he didn't implicate that Nicole had anything to do with the crimes. All right, but he did say how he gave Shanann oxy, which I'm assuming is oxycodone, which is why she didn't put up a fight when he strangled her to death. So she asked him, where did you get that prescription from? And he says, I'm going to take that to my grave. Now, that makes me wonder why, out of all this fucked up information that you're now telling everybody and putting out in this book, I would like to know why and how he says, I will take that to my grave. So naturally, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, did Nicole give him that oxy prior to him killing Shanann? And did she know he was going to, give that to Shanann? Because in the book also, guys, he states that the reason why he was giving Shanann the oxy was he was trying to force her to have a miscarriage. He didn't want the baby coming into the world. He wanted Nicole to have his baby. So he was trying to force her to have a miscarriage. So I'm wondering, did Nicole give that to him? But then, as I sat around and I thought about this more and more, I thought about something. Maybe it's his father who gave it to him. Maybe that's why he said, I'll take this to my grave. Maybe it was his father. Now, the reason why I quickly omit his mother out of this case is because I know looks can be deceiving, but I just don't feel like Cindy had any intentions on Shanann being killed, and nor did she have any knowledge that this was going to happen. But the way Chris describes his relationship with his father, it makes me wonder, was it him? Was it him? And of course he'll take it to his grave, because if he was to say anything, it's very possible that charges can be brought towards his father. So in the comment section of the live show, let me know right now, what do you guys think when it comes to that oxy pill that he gave Shanann before he strangled her, which is why she couldn't fight back? He said he'll take it to his grave on who gave that to him. Who do y'all think gave it to him? Flower Child says, I'm sorry, let me start at Brody Richard. Brody Richard says his mom or NK gave him the oxy. His mom seems like she takes ton of them. Okay. And then Flower Child says, I never thought NK was involved, but when he said that, and at least she's on the outside, has me backing up. I don't know, but that's fishy. I understand you on that one, Flower Child. KJ says, well, his dad already knew about the mistress. He wasn't shocked at all when Chris said, I told them about the affair. That seemed like Ronnie already knew. You might be on to something, KJ. You might be on to something. Brody says, he was on cocaine. Wouldn't surprise me if he took oxys. Lots of people say Chris had it from Shanann's neck surgery. That may be possible. Flower Child says, that's crossed my mind too, but who knows? Now I can't hear anything. Uh-oh. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me now, Flower Child? Can you hear me? Somebody? Okay, you can still hear me. All right, cool. Okay. But yes, guys, reading this book, and let me say this about myself, right? I'm not a person who's like I'm not one of the people who can't read murder stories or can't see death. Like, I'm okay with those things. I can see the image of a dead person and not feel squeamish or anything. I can hear the most tragic of a story and not feel so overwhelmed with emotions after hearing about it. But I must say, for the first time ever, when I was reading the words that Chris was saying, because when it came to the actual pure confession in the book, she didn't paraphrase what he said, but she actually gave us the actual words verbatim that he said. I felt those chills run through my body that everyone says. It's such a cliche term to say. When I read this, I felt chills go through my body. It's so cliche. And I never subscribed to being cliche. But, this time I felt them. I felt them. It was as if I was talking to Chris myself. And he says over and over and over, all right, good, Flower Child. You can hear again? That's good. He says over and over and over that he knew he was going to kill his family and he couldn't do anything to stop it. This was something he wanted to do so bad just to be with Nicole, and that he never thought, not once, he never thought about the consequences of doing this. He never thought about the consequences of doing this. And it's just so mind-blowing to me. Like, I can grasp the concept of him feeling ostracized by his family to the point that he felt like they were an obstacle in the way of true happiness, which was Nicole. I don't agree with it, but I can understand the thought process that he has behind that, because that fits the profile of a lot of family annihilators. But when he says that he knew he was going to do this, but he couldn't do nothing to stop it, that part I can't wrap my mind around. I can't understand how you make a decision 2 weeks prior to do something and you have full control over not doing it, but yet you say you couldn't stop yourself from doing it, and you still love your wife and kids to the point that he feels confused on why people have started a petition about him taking down the pictures of his family out of his cell. It's like Chris lives as two different people. It's like he's evil Chris and good Chris, and they split instead of being or sharing one body. It's like they're two different people, and that's who we are hearing from in this book. Maybe it's not meant for me to wrap my mind around, but it's very sad. Let's see. Brody Richards says, I'm not sure what type of surgery she had, but I'm sure they gave her oxys, but he wouldn't take that to his grave. They were her own pills, so he most likely got it from NK or his parents. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mylene Taylor. Thank you for saying what you just said. You just brought up one key point out of that book, that if you don't pay attention to it, you will see it, read it, and you will forget all about it. He speaks on Nicole's friends practicing some type of art of, he didn't say witchcraft, but it's along the lines of voodoo and witchcraft. And I think what he was trying to imply in a small, subtle way is that Nicole put a voodoo spell on him. And that's why he can't explain why a spirit from the outside was forcing him to do this heinous act. Although in his mind, he kind of didn't want to do this, or it explains why he didn't think of the consequences in the aftermath of what would happen after he killed his family. And it's something interesting to think of, because I don't believe in witchcraft per se, but I do believe that with enough practice and enough skill, there are people out there who can put some type of a mojo on you. So let me ask you guys that in the comment section. Do you think in any way, form, or fashion that it's possible that Nicole put a love spell on Chris? KJ says, another thought. I know Chris Watts claimed he killed them at the site, but the other thing that has never set well with me was after he loaded the shadows in the truck. He sat there for over 6 minutes. Oh, the girls. Okay, you're referring to the girls, right? Because he explained all of that in the book. He explained that whole process on how he loaded Shanann's body. Then the girls ran up to him and he put them in a truck. He was infuriated at them because they kept whining in the back seat talking about how bad it smelled in the truck because Shanann pretty much defecated on herself once she died. He even spoke on when he threw Shanann into the shallow grave. He threw her on her stomach, y'all, and she gave birth at that moment. And he said he felt so much distaste for her, he didn't even care to flip her body over. He just left her the way she was, face down in the dirt. What was the Google volcano rock thing he was looking at? Lime and eruption, and yep, magic, yep. That's true, Miss Taylor. This book is very interesting. Now, you got a lot of people that's on the fence about this book. You got a lot of people who wonder and think like, okay, it's propaganda, it's BS, it's more lies. But the majority of the book is Miss Cato putting what she found out in her own words. But when it comes to the actual confession, the detailed confession of the crime, it's in Chris's words himself. She actually took the letter that he sent to her and she copied and pasted that into her book instead of paraphrasing what he said. But it's sad, man. It's a sad case, you know. Now, of course, I put out 2 videos today, guys. If you have a chance, please go and check them out. All right. Also, a new upload will be coming tomorrow as well, so be looking forward towards that. But once again, if you got time, please go check out the 2 videos I posted today, which is the Psychology of Chris Watts Part 2 and a video discussing the portion of Chris saying that Nicole pretty much lied to the detectives about their relationship. And it doesn't really, give any new information, but it's more so of just a insight on the type of character that Nicole is altogether and how she portrays to be an innocent, forthcoming person, but she's very deceitful in her own ways. But most people already assume that about her anyway. But I will bring this live show to a conclusion. I just wanted to, go over that aspect of the book on him talking about killing the girls and why he killed the girls. If you guys have any more questions or anything, or if you want me to talk about another specific aspect of this case, all you have to do is leave it down in the comment section. I read every comment. I read them all, okay? And I appreciate you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys for joining. Catch me on the next time. Peace.